So what do you do when you've got a small sized allotment or a medium sized allotment like me, or a garden, and you've run out of space? Grow up. Let me show you what I've done. So many of you will have seen these arches on my vlogs before. Well, these are just cheap archways, and they're actually single archways, you can see. And they were only from Wilkinson's. I think they're about a tenner or something like that. And then I've just joined them to make a double one with some bamboo canes and cable ties. And I've used old curtain poles to strengthen them in the ground, just use as stakes. Reduce, reuse, recycle. We like to repurpose, don't we? Well, this was done when I started the plot, I wanted a good infrastructure. I wanted some paths. So rather than this being a waste of space here, I can actually use this growing space over the paths. So yeah, I've got one double arch here and another double arch here. You can use them for beans, peas, grapevines, thornless blackberry I've got down there. Yeah, climbing French beans, runner beans, the works. Now it's called vertical gardening, but it's just maximising the space that you've got, and I'm sure a lot of us do it already, but it just gives you some ideas. I've got something to show you here as well about the birdies beds. It's an option that I could do to gain more height for growing space there. Okay, so I've bought another single archway here, thinking that it was only about a tenner, thinking I could use it somewhere, and I've got plans to either use it in the garden at home or here. One thought I had was to use the archway to join these two beds together and grow something up the archway. Now that's still a front runner, still not decided yet, but the plan was to grow French beans in here, dwarf French beans, bush beans, which I will be doing, but I could also grow some climbing French, couldn't I? If I put an archway, another way of growing up. Okay, so as well as archways, we could use trellis work or netting. As you can see, we can grow all these peas that I grow up here. I wanted to grow a lot more peas this year. This is all repurposed stuff, and I've created some beds. What I can also do here now is use the space in front of it if I wanted to for something else. People like to use, could put a quick lettuce crop in there, or radishes and things like that. I personally don't like either of those, so I don't grow them. But yeah, so I've got my trellis work here for my peas, and a mini one here, and another one here. So yeah, it's just a good use of the space. I say you can also then use this space as well. Obelisks and tepees. I'm sure a lot of people do this. Now this is going to be for my drying beans this year, and some peas here, and going to be squash on the bottom. So I'm going to be using this as a multifunctional space rather than just use it for one thing. We're growing up here as well as the squashes growing across and trailing. These obelisks were just really old ones that are in my garden, very cheap. When I bought them, probably off eBay or Amazon or something like that. As you can see, they've seen better days. However, they've still got some life in them. So until they do fall apart, I'm going to be using these on the plot. And these are going to be for my peas, so we'll see how we get on with this year. And we got another one here. Had to do a minor repair down there. But then, yeah, a lot of people just use these simple wigwam teepees, don't they? This is bamboo canes, just secured at the top. And then just with some natural twine all the way around. And then this is going to be for some peas. But a lot of people do sweet peas on them or things like that. I did sweet peas last year and it worked really well. Another good option for growing up vertical gardening, which doesn't take any floor space up, is trellises and wall planters, things like that. Let me show you what I've got on my plot. So outside my shed here, I've just created a little tiny raised bed. This was done last year, and just a piece of trellis work that was just salvaged. I'm growing clematis up here, and then down the side, this side of my shed, which is this is the boundary to my plot. But I'm still using this space and growing upwards, so it's not taking anything off the growing space down here. This again is another beautiful clematis, or clematis, however you say it. But then I got the option, if I wanted to, I could put some veg down here if I wanted, but I've chosen to do flowers and comfrey. But yeah, planters as well is a good thing. So I've put some planters just on the side of my new compost, reconfigured compost bays here. Again, you could put strawberries in here, you could put anything you wanted. I've chosen to put flowers. I've got a couple here, and then I've got one over on my front of my shed here as well. As you can see, did have hyacinths in here, strawberries last year, but again, not taking any floor space whatsoever. Using space again on top of my compost base here. Now, this is herb planters. I've decided to put herbs on the top here. This again, not taking any floor space up. So again, we're going upwards, aren't we? Another good way is using what you've got on your plot, existing structures. Now I've got established fruit trees here, and on my plum tree, which I'll show you now, I've got a honeysuckle growing. Again, another way of growing up. See, I've got, this is a cutting from at home. I brought it to the plot, planted it last year. It's very happy in this plum tree, and it gives a bit of interest during the times that this tree has got no leaves on it and it's just coming into leaf now. And look, this should be fantastic. Let's hope for some lovely flowers. I'm sat in my lovely seating area. So another place that I've maximised space is here on my compost bays that I reconfigured. As you can see, I've created a raised bed here, and this is a no-dig bed. I've just constructed it with some bits of scrap wood, cardboard down, filled with compost. What I did here, put some screws in, had some old twine, crisscrossed it, and I thought I'm going to plant peas here because they won't mind a little bit of shade from the sun that's going to come through here most of the day, and it'll get plenty of light. So another way of maximising space. And even planted some spare strawberries just in the front there, but you could put anything down there. Hanging baskets. Got some hanging baskets. I've got 3 actually on my plot at the moment. So I've got them filled with pansies. Got this one here, and then this beautiful one here, and this one here. So I had strawberries in those hanging baskets last year. It's another way you could, if you wanted to crop instead of some flowers in there. Multiple things you could put in there. But I've decided I'm going to maximise some more space, and I'm going to do a couple more hanging baskets, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So here, back of the shed, side of the polytunnel, this is a bit of a storage area for me. So my one of my future projects is I'm going to be putting a cold frame down here. So I don't really want to put something too tall up the back of this structure here, or any trellis work, which could be an option if I were to use this space. As I'm going to be using a cold frame down here, I want to keep this clear. So I've got some spare hanging baskets. I've got some brackets. Let's get some strawberries on the back of here. It gets the sun all day at the back of this shed. Even with this polytunnel in the way, the sun's quite high in the sky during the summer, and these should ripen up nicely. So I've got a strawberry planter here. That's a traditional terracotta strawberry planter. Flowering quite nicely, but I really struggled last year to keep this well watered. Water just drains through too quickly. So what I thought was, I'm going to use these plants in here and put them into the new hanging baskets. Let's get it done. Job done. My name's Will, and you've been watching The Flying Gardener.